Oh, starting to spit a little bit. We're on site here with WEPG, Greg and Mike Turpin. They're helping this client get this house built super energy efficient. That means we're using T-stud, we're using Zip-R sheathing on the roof. First time ever that we've ever heard about the Huber insulated wall system being used on a roof. We'll take you upstairs and show you that a little bit more. But we're using closed cell spray foam. That is exactly what needs to be done in all of America, all of North America really. We're eliminating the thermal bridging with the T-stud, eliminating the thermal bridging with the Zip-R, even though we can wrap the top cord with closed cell spray foam. We're doing it double, right? We're taking advantage of two different things. When we're wanting to get foam put on, it's important to make sure if we're taking all these steps with modern sheathing, modern studs, wiring, plumbing, building code, LVLs, headers. We're using all this modern technology and we've decided to use spray foam. So my question is, should we be using the most modern methodology on installing the foam? And the answer is absolutely yes. Now, here behind me, the Turpins actually were spraying foam when they first started their career. They believe in it that much. Right, here's their rig, Gen 1 rig. I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna show you the difference. Here we've got the old school way. This is very prevalent right now. And I'd say 96, 97% of the industry would be this type of a setup. Let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, I'm in the trailer and behind me is the new method. We'll go over that in a second. This one's a shore power rig, doesn't have a generator. We got the original OG Daddy 2035 Gusmer. Oh, a lot of respect to Gusmer. They started this industry, we wouldn't have it. We wouldn't be here talking today. I wouldn't be doing this video with you all if it wasn't for Gusmer. But what we got is the old school heavy hoses, externally wrapped, externally heated with, the actual TSU. That's 50 or 100 or 150, 200 feet out, whatever. But it's measuring at one point. So that you see here, get down here. Yeah. So there's our hose heat. But it's measuring, it's taking the temperature basically of two lines, one line, but it's one reading for two lines. So it's better than a thermometer, but it's not as a giant leap in technology like we think it is. Why? Because temperature matters. Viscosity matters. Viscosity and temperature are related. The old days, all we had was our pressure gauges down here and our digital readouts. And for most of us, we think that's fine. And I'm not saying you can't spray good foam with this. You can, okay? It's just a lot more clunky, a lot more slow, and you have less options. Now I'm going to take you over into the new rig that's using the accurate dynamic system, the Delta Light hoses, the independent hose heat system, right? The digital reporting. This works, and I'm going to show you later that this all can be retrofitted to new. You can put new gear. If you got one of these setups, hey, you can get into modern upgrades with this. I'm going to show you how. But there's a lot better method and a lot better way. So this is Gen 1 technology. It's kind of like having an old Gen 1 Dodge, 12 valve Cummins. They work good. They can make good foam. They can do it. But let me show you what the modern way that we're dealing with things here, just on a job site. I'm going to show you. Here's ProX system. Okay, this is all going to be touch screen, individually heated hoses, A and B. The hoses are 45% lighter. Like I can move this hose effortlessly with one hand. Like just picking that other one up compared to this one, massive difference. Like the other one's like at least twice the effort. And you might say I'm a wimpy guy, but this hose is internally heated. So the wire heating it is inside the hose, not wrapped around it, okay? And then each section, each 50, if you want to think about it that way, each 50 comes back to the machine. Let me show you, right? All the different connections are right here, right? All the different 50s are here. and they report back to the machine so that you can have, you know, the first, the second, the third heating at different rates. It's all about precision. You want to match viscosities of the foam so that you have equal viscosity for the mix, and that's what the accurate system is about. But I would say this, guys: lighter, faster to heat up, more precise, and that translates into better yield. These are what I call the dog days of summer. It's hot, we're all sweating, it's not exactly nice, it's muggy, and we're about to start spraying here in a minute. Suiting up with the proper PPE. That's a standalone pack that runs on battery that purifies the air and throws it to his helmet. He's got all of his cleaner and his tools right with him, ready to roll. Right, he's got everything in his bag, ready to roll. We got the hose out. This is the Delta Light hose. Super, super light. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you. Right there. Right there. Right there. You see what I'm doing? Can you do that with your hose? Here's my challenge. Okay? Can you do that with your hose internally heated? Okay, we got a brand new gun on today. Brand new gun, even though we got lots of other ones. We're going to get spraying some walls here. We're going to show you what the foam is going to look like inside the T-stud. So take note of how everything is now. Okay. We'll catch you when we start spraying. We're on site here with Nick, Steel City Insulators. There's the rig. I'm looking through the plastic. Tell us, a lot of these guys just show up, Nick, and they splash foam everywhere. They spray it. We got overspray on the poly. Tell me, what do you guys do that's different, how you care about the job?
We start from the furthest point and basically just go from there. We all kind of huddle up in the morning, come up with a game plan, and get after it. We run through where we need to put in baffles, and what windows to prep, what we need to prep, and what should and should not have foam on it. I don't like overspray, so anything that I can prep and keep clean, I'm going to, because if it was my house, I wouldn't want to overspray on my stuff either. So I kind of treat it as my own for however long we're working there. You start at the furthest point and you work away and have a guy start spraying and guys carry ahead. They have questions, ask, and if you can run into problems, figure it out.
Yeah, a nice, neat, clean job starts with prep, starts with actually caring where you're going to get stuff and where not. You're going to scrape the studs. You don't have to scrape the floor. You got to pull all of this up, and you're conscientious to get foam all the way into the corners, into the cracks, the crevices, caulk and seal everything where you can't get, so you get a complete job. And the other guys just don't care about that. They spray some foam, they try to collect a check, and they're on their way, right?
Air sealing is just as important as foam is. If you can prevent all the air leakage coming in through your double top plates, your all your headers, your jack studs and king studs, your bottom plates. I mean, air comes through. If you have cold air that comes through all your cracks, then what's the insulation really doing? So insulation's a great step, but if you can control everything at one time, then you're good to go. So we come in, we insulate, we air seal, and we leave it how it should be.
And I see you're holding a probe there. Do any of these other? Oh, yours is tied right to your wrist. So
yeah, so I never lose it.
You don't lose it. That's how
stays right on.
conscientious you are about checking things, right?
Yeah, I mean, I check every bay. I check my low spots. It's a rod. I measure it at 3 inches, like it should be in the wall. And after I'm done spraying a bay, if I think it looks low, or I think if it looks flat, looks low, looks whatever, I stick my depth gauge in it, and it tells me if I am low. I mean, spray foam's a great product, but it costs a lot of money, so we're not going to jip you out to try to save some.
Right. Yeah, and you don't want to be over. You don't want to be over. That's going to cost you money. You don't want to be under and leave something. The only way to look at this and really to know is to probe it. Because you can't tell visually.
No, I mean, you can kind of eyeball it whenever you start riding your wave and carry your depth, but I've thought I've been at 3 inches and only been at 2. And this is an exact, basically, tool that we can use to tell if we are at 2, 3, or 4. If I check it and I'm over, I need to speed up a little bit, because then it costs us a ton of money to spray 4 inches everywhere when we should be spraying 3.
How do we get a pattern like this? People don't understand that that's a perfect looking donut.
A clean mix chamber is going to do a big part of it. So we spend a lot of time on our off days, our maintenance days, to make sure that we have clean guns, clean mix chambers to work throughout the day. And the way you keep it is just dialing in your temperatures and your pressures. If it's too hot, you'll have fingers at 10 and 2, or 2 and 7. If you're too cold, it'll be gummy inside and it'll start to run everywhere. So having good temperatures and good pressure is a big part of it, and it keeps people from getting mad and helps with production throughout the day.